Well, welcome everybody to our self-discovery workshop. The last time myself and Karla gave this workshop, it was 2 hours long. So let's see if we can condense it to 1 hour. But we are very excited to be here with you. And finally, we get to record it for YouTube. The first time we gave it was to our Upward Bound students that we were helping mentor during the summer. Okay, cool. So again, welcome to our self-discovery workshop. This workshop was developed by Dr. Yvonne Santiago and a couple of her students, and Karla and myself are gonna kind of push along that effort today with extending the workshop here. So okay, here we go. So the goal today is to help you develop your personal short and long-term goals and identify and establish effective success strategies. So basically what that means today is we're going to identify our strengths and our weaknesses and kind of in the end put them together, and we can, make even our weaknesses, we can turn them into something very positive and we can use them to our advantage. Objectives are again to identify your personal interests and things that you're passionate about, because those are the kinds of things that are going to help you, meet your goals. To identify your strengths and how you can use them to pursue your career. So a lot of times we do talk about things like follow your passions and do what you love. And I think that if you identify your personal interests and your strengths, you're able to marry those two ideas together, because in the long term, you want to have a career path that you're going to enjoy and that you're going to be comfortable with. And we're going to use this strategy of SCOO. You can call it SCOO if you would like, but it identifies strengths, challenges, opportunities, and obstacles. And we are going to create a plan around that to help you meet your goals, and whether they're career or academic. So who are we? So we did talk a little bit about Yvonne Santiago. She is an engineer at UTEP and has helped a lot in Puerto Rico with, I can't exactly remember the project that she was doing, but I believe they were building bridges. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. As for me, my name is Sarah Weezar. I'm currently a master's student in the creative writing department at UTEP. I'm working on my thesis currently. I am a program coordinator for the yesshecan mentorship program, and also for El Paso's very first esports team called the El Paso Honey Badgers. We're based out of UTEP, but we are a community team. Karla?
Hi, I'm Karla Yala. I just graduated UTEP with a bachelor's in electrical engineering, and I work alongside Sarah. So I'm also a program coordinator for yesshecan and the Honey Badgers.
Cool. Since I'm host, it is dawning on me that I might not be able to see when people are coming in and out. I'm wondering if I could still do that.
If someone wants to join, you're gonna get prompted at the top.
Okay, I see.
With let the person in.
Yes, I see that now. Thank you. Okie dokie. So let's go back. So the first section of the analysis is listing things that make you happy, listing things that you're passionate about and that you enjoy. Some examples that we have here are religion or culture and art. Maybe you enjoy hiking, maybe you enjoy painting, maybe you enjoy making music or volunteering, or going to the gym, working out. Those are the kinds of things that are really first and foremost important to who you are and who you want to be. That is the very first step, I think, in even career planning, because it's possible that you may get a career in the long term that may or may not allow you to have like weekends off or something. And let's say one of your most favorite things to do is like play with your band on the weekend. There's there's things we'll have to sacrifice eventually in life, but I don't really think that sacrificing your happiness and the things that you're passionate about is necessarily to your benefit, because you are going to work best when you are fulfilled. The next section is, oh, I'm so sorry, I was getting a call. So the next section is listing our strengths, challenges, and opportunities. And so I'm gonna go through all of these. Okay. So when we talk about strengths, we are talking about traits and characteristics that make you and will help you be successful. So think about the things that maybe people compliment about your work ethic. So if you are dedicated, or if you are patient, or if you are really good at meeting deadlines, those are all things that we can consider strengths. Challenges would be traits and characteristics that you feel may hold you back from being successful. So sometimes, and I think maybe a lot of times, this has to do with, for example, like motivation. So maybe you're lacking a little bit of motivation, or you may be a little bit lazy or lack a little bit of commitment. Just want to remind you that these things are, you have the capability to change these things. They are changeable, so to speak. So you don't necessarily need to worry so much, so long as you do recognize that building up these areas, being a little bit more motivated, being a little bit more committed to whatever it is that you're doing, are going to help you in the long run. The next one we have are resources. So these are resources that you feel will help you be successful. So this can be jobs, scholarships, internships. Again, we talked about volunteering. So wouldn't it be cool if, like, one of your passions is to volunteer for, the Humane Society or something like that? Well, that passion will actually give you an opportunity at some point to be successful, because it's possible that you can align your interests with your opportunities. And again, it's not necessary to sacrifice your happiness in order to be successful. It's always best to be happy so you can be the best version of yourself. And the last one is obstacles, external. So just a little bit of a reminder, let me go back here. So strengths are internal items, challenges are also internal items. And when we're talking about opportunities, we're talking about them as external, and obstacles as external as well. So these internal items are specific to you internally, things that you are and things that you can change about yourself. When it comes to opportunities and obstacles, these may be things that you don't always have control over. Um, an opportunity would be a scholarship, but you don't necessarily always control which scholarships you get. For the last one, obstacles, these are things that you might feel prevent you from being successful. So this could be other people's negativities, your lack of experience. Things might be a little bit difficult for you as far as your finances go. Again, these things are changeable, they're beatable. They might be intimidating, but these are things that, even though they're external and you don't necessarily have control over them, you can work toward, regaining some sort of sense of control in this aspect. So here we're going to take just a little bit of time. We're going to evaluate our strengths that are internal and positive, our challenges that are internal and negative, our opportunities that are external and positive, and obstacles that are external and negative. So these are going to seem super, super difficult, but it really is very helpful. And I think that's the part about self-discovery, is that you're going to have to reflect even on, maybe we can call them weaknesses. You may have to reflect on your weaknesses in order to strengthen those. So for example, let's see, a strength, internal, positive. And I can't remember exactly what I put, but I will come up with one now. I feel like I'm pretty dedicated. So I think that's a internal, like a strength, internal slash positive strength. A challenge for me that is internal and negative. For me sometimes I tend to lack motivation, so I do struggle, a little bit with mental health, and sometimes I have bad mental health days, sometimes I have good mental health days, and on the off days I find it challenging to be motivated and get excited about the things that normally, get me excited. Opportunities, external, positive. Okay, so for sure, the opportunities for me here are the opportunity to work with yesshecan and the opportunity to work with the learning environments in the UGLC. I'm so insanely grateful to have those opportunities, and they've served me really well, and they continue to. Obstacles, external, negative. Okay. For me, this one would be my financial situation, like after graduating, maybe after my time at UTEP is done, in terms of school or in terms of working. um I'm a little bit afraid, that I won't be financially stable or that I won't find a job, and I think that's something that scares a lot of us, but it's super super real, so you should know that you're not alone. But those are some of mine. And hopefully you've had a little bit of time to download the document that we put in the chat. And if you're rewatching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description, so you can go ahead and check that out. And okay, so section 3 is career plans. So what do you want in a career? Looking at section 1 regarding your interests and passions, you would put that like using your passions and thinking about your career, you would put those together and find maybe a new perspective about your financial needs and your financial wants. And let me just admit a couple of people here. All right, cool. Hi, for those who are joining us. If you want to look at the chat and download a PDF, I believe it's called Self-Discovery, you can go ahead and do that. That's kind of the thing that we are going over right now. So an example of a career plan would be a job in my field, feeling like I want to go to work, feel like work is not a job. So what that means is you're using your interest to find a career that when you go to work, it's not going to feel like work. It's going to feel really, really good to be there. Cool. Uh-oh, did I? Okay. Yes, okay. And section 4, strengths, challenges, opportunities, and obstacles. So this is the analysis. Think about the things that you put in sections 1 through 3, and you're gonna use these. You're kind of like gonna connect them, and Karla will go more in depth about this, but you're going to be challenged, and I say challenged because it will be hard. You're gonna challenge yourself to make these connections. So if I go back to, these negative kind of challenges and yet the positive kind of opportunities, you are going to be challenged to put these together. Like, how can these two together, really influence you in a positive way? And again, it's going to be difficult, but you can do it. I believe in you. So just a reminder, the first is interests and passions. The second section is identifying your strengths, challenges, opportunities, obstacles. Section 4 is what you want in a career. And then, section 3. And then section 4 is the analysis portion. So I'm going to hand it over to Karla.
Okay, great. So like Sarah said, in this part of the workshop, we are going to be combining all of our strengths, challenges, opportunities, and obstacles. So we are going to be looking at one quadrant at a time. The first one we're going to look at is going to be strengths and opportunities. So the top one. That one. So the question for that quadrant is, which of your strengths can you use to maximize your opportunities? So think back on the list. I have here on my strengths that I am dedicated and that I have strong work ethic. So the question was, which strength can help me maximize my opportunity? My opportunity, I wrote community and work. So how are they going to help me out with that? What I have is that it could help me out gain an internship or a job in the future. Having good work ethic can make me succeed and exceed expectations, hopefully during an internship that may lead to a job. So think about that. Do you guys know what could help you? Do you guys want to leave anything in the comments, or if you think of an idea, feel free to unmute yourself and talk. I'm going to give you a little bit of time because I know it takes a little bit to think of that. Sarah, I don't know if you would like to share in the meantime. I think we're doing good on time.
Yeah. So, okay, let me go back. Which of my strengths can maximize my opportunities? So, if I'm dedicated, which was my strength, and my opportunities were involving like working at UTEP, putting those together, I think that the people who may want to employ me at UTEP, you know, whether it's moving up or getting a promotion or whatnot, I think that they can see my strength, that I am dedicated, and therefore trust that I can do the job. They know that I'm willing to learn new skills and that I'm willing to take on new projects because I am dedicated. So that's mine for that.
Cool. Would anyone like to share? If not, so we can move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one is, how can you use your strengths to minimize your obstacles? Here I have that my obstacles were my lack of experience or feeling unprepared for the future. I think in this case, having a strong work ethic and being dedicated can help me understand that it doesn't matter if I don't have the experience, that I am a dedicated person, that if they give me the topic, I can go ahead and learn on my own or seek resources to feel more prepared for a job. Another example would be on the next slide. Here they had that a strength was being a good listener, which is a great strength to have. An obstacle is being unfamiliar, having an unfamiliar environment. So they wrote that to try to use what you learn about people to connect with them. So if you're feeling uncomfortable in a social setting, maybe using the fact that you are a good listener and that you do listen and pay attention to people, you can use that to make genuine connections instead of forcing a situation and feeling uncomfortable.
And that, actually, I hadn't thought about that, but that is a really, really intimidating kind of obstacle. And it just makes me think about like when you're in your first class, like your first day of college, and you don't know anyone, and you're like, oh my God, like, who are these people? You're in a really unfamiliar environment, but by the time the next class comes around and the next one, you kind of get to know the people around you, and it's because you probably have something in common. And yeah, that has to do with being a good listener. That means that you're being social, but being in an unfamiliar environment is a really big obstacle. So if you're able to overcome that very easily, then kudos to you. Kudos to you.
Even outside of class, as we're thinking of the future, such as internships and jobs, um, I think that being a good listener will help you succeed. So being able to read the room and understand how people are reacting to certain situations and listening to them, understanding their social behaviors, I think that'll help you out a lot. And sometimes we're so eager to get things done that we don't necessarily listen to all of the things that they want us to do. So paying attention to the little details, I think, are great to succeed.
Yeah, same. Cool.
Okay, so moving on. The third quadrant is what can you do to minimize your challenge using your opportunities? So here, let me look. Opportunities. I wrote, hold on, let me look at my notes. I put that community and work were my opportunity. And my challenge, I wrote that I wrote a lot of challenges actually. I feel like that was an easy thing to write. So I can definitely be shy in new settings. So to have an internship or a job, I know that you need to be able to interact with people in a social setting, like it said previously in the other one. So here, to minimize challenges, we wrote that use organized events at internships to meet people and interact with them. So using social settings that you don't necessarily have to plan or invite people out. So having a meeting, or we do a lot at work, like game nights or Friday meetings where we socialize. So I use that time to actually talk to them and interact with them outside of work, yet at work, and not necessarily feel like I have to be in work mode. Because I don't know, but I personally struggle with feeling connected with someone when I'm at work, because I know I have a set amount of time and I need to finish my work. If not, then I'm gonna have to stay later or go home, and I don't want that. So having an organized time at work and actually using that to meet someone or feel a little bit more relaxed, I think can help me overcome or use my opportunity to overcome my challenge.
Mm-hmm. That calls me to think about like communication. On mine, my challenge was, having some bad mental health days, and I think this has been really important for me to pair these together, because of my challenges, like not having the best, day sometimes, pairing that with my opportunities, it's led me to be a lot more open with the people that I work with, because I can tell them like, dude, I'm not having a good day. Can I just back off today? I'll do my stuff, but, can I not be present and whatever? And it's allowed me to communicate with people who are important in my life and in my work more effectively, so that they understand where I'm at. Because at least for me, it's important for people to know where I'm at, like in my journey, I guess, or in my work day. So that way they can rely on me, or they can know like, oh, maybe let's not like task Sarah with this today. Like we'll talk about it with her tomorrow or something like that. So it is a lot of communication. And I think that's something that we can pair with our challenges and opportunities. It seems like that's the result, is just enhancing our communication and like getting outside of our comfort zone, so to speak.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense, because it's give and take, obviously. If you want to understand someone, obviously you want them to tell you a little bit more about themselves. So you can't just expect people to tell you without giving anything back. So communication goes both ways. And that's great.
All
So I
right.
have here,
Oh, back.
no, I was just reading the comments, what Diane put.
Okay. I probably should have opened comments before. I can't see them.
She
It's
put,
okay.
oh, go ahead, Diane.
I was just going to say that I can really feel what you're saying with telling people where you're at, because that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. In fact, it's sometimes you just don't want people to know, because then they might think less of you, or I don't know. So I find that we have to feel safe enough to open up to say how we feel.
We definitely don't want to seem vulnerable, or at least in my perspective. I have a hard time actually realizing that it's okay. This is not a weakness. Like I can just say I'm not having a good day instead of me thinking, no, that's gonna make me look weak. So it's getting rid of that mindset and opening up, because that's how we improve. That's how we use our obstacles, our challenges to grow and become a stronger individual.
Yeah, it's totally not a weakness. I mean, it's really a strength, because you're able to be honest with yourself and be honest with the people that you work with. And it does develop a trust between you guys, you know? At least that's how I feel it in my own personal experience. Whenever I like opened up to the people that I work with about my own challenges, it just felt like a breath of fresh air, because I knew that like they could still trust me to get my work done, but I could still trust them to like support me when I need it. And it's like it's really awesome to be like to have that opportunity, but it is really hard. It's so hard to really get there, but you can totally do it.
Yes, I'm reading at the comments, and Susie said that being honest about how you feel with other coworkers or colleagues can be challenging. And
Yeah.
Taylor agrees. She put that I feel like knowing how to communicate what you're feeling in a positive and healthy way can sometimes be scary. And yes, really scary. We definitely agree with you guys, and we totally feel you. But those are our struggles as well. We're personally, and I don't know if it's so much like a matter of like being shy or what it is, but it's just hard. It's scary to just put yourself out there, you know?
What I'm
So
thinking about too is, you know, sometimes there's people who don't want to take their personal things into account when they're at work, you know, because if somebody's feeling sad, um, whether they want to take it to work or not, you know, it's going to affect them. But how do you, if you're the kind of person who really values your privacy and doesn't want to talk about how you're feeling, um, you know, I don't know, I don't even know how to navigate that, but I'm just kind of trying to look at it both sides, where maybe I'm not feeling well, but I don't feel comfortable, you know, talking to my coworkers about it. And if anybody who's in the chat right now has any suggestions about how to do that, like how do you maintain your privacy while still communicating like where you're at with the people that you work with, you know, that is if you depend on each other.
that's a great question, Sarah.
Yeah, it's hard too. Oh, I found the chat.
Yeah.
I think you have to develop that level of confidence, you know, in the workplace, that you can say to the people that you work with that this is what's happening, and that just takes time and a willingness, right, for them to be open to having that kind of very frank and open, not, or honest is a better word, relationship, work relationship.
Yeah.
And to some extent, it's like a level of trust with your like colleagues and coworkers, trusting them that they're going to understand that information and just be like, okay, instead of, I don't know, sometimes the way that people think about you or the things that you make up in your mind are worse than the actual situation.
Yeah. Susie's here saying that it can be difficult because at times it seems like at times it seems your problems are not really an excuse to not work, if that makes sense. That's really interesting because honestly, I think that you can have challenges and still like have a good work ethic, because then we're starting to talk about like accountability. Somebody could be very flexible with you and be understanding, but I think it's still important to hold you accountable to the amount of tasks that you can take on. So I think that's why it's important to have those conversations of like, how much can you take on right now? And can you take on less or can you take on more? And whatever it is that we decide, I will hold you accountable to that, because you're telling me, like, I'm trusting you to tell me that this is how much you can handle. So yeah, I know that it can be difficult, but I don't think that expressing like the kind of problems you're having is really seen as an excuse at all. Because if you're being honest with someone, and they're being flexible, there's totally a difference between like someone who's being honest and someone who's just taking advantage, of somebody's time and being flexible. So there's like a very clear line there, and it's kind of obvious when someone's just like taking advantage. So yeah, I would say you're good. I would say don't.
I think what she means is more like personal. So telling yourself that no, like that's not an excuse to have some time off. No, like I can do this. No, this, and actually admitting to yourself, no, dude, you need a break. It's okay. You can take the next hour or so to think about and, put yourself back together instead of forcing you to keep working and then not actually getting anything done because you're just battling with yourself. At least that's how I interpret it, because that's how I feel sometimes. Or I've had in the past where I'm like, no, like you need to keep working. Like that's not an excuse. Just do it and get it done. And I feel like I wasted more time fighting with myself instead of admitting you're tired and taking a break and then later on.
That's so true.
Okay, cool, Susie. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I felt it.
I did that on, what was it on? Yeah, this past Monday. I still had stuff to do, but I just like stopped. I'm like, Sarah, just do it this one time, like just stop. And so like for the majority of the day, I was just like chilling, and I was like, dang, like I should really be doing something right now. But I'll tell you what, on Tuesday morning, I woke up so refreshed. I woke up just so ready to like take on the day. And I was like, okay, stopping early on Monday really paid off, because I felt so good on Tuesday.
Yeah, the wonders that rest can do. Diane, you are right. Women are conditioned to push through and put everything else first. And that is, I guess, something maybe, at least personally, that I see like in the women in my family, that like no matter how my mom was feeling, she had to make sure that her kids were fine, that my grandma was fine, that this was paid, that we were doing that. So she was always multitasking. So I always felt like if my mom can do it, I can do it. So I should be at the level. Yet we don't see the days where they need the rest. So
yes,
rest is really important.
It is. Who would have known?
So I believe this is already the next slide, correct, Sarah?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, so the fourth quadrant was how can you minimize your challenges to avoid or minimize your obstacles? So my challenges, well, I had many, but my obstacle was the lack of experience or feeling unprepared. So one of my challenges I had put that I am a perfectionist. I like to constantly look for how to improve things. I am never pleased with anything. I always want to do something better, or I think like, oh, I could have done this. So I think maybe that the lack of experience or feeling unprepared, I can definitely
Sorry, guys.
fix that with just dedicating some time and working through it. And I know that I can, that it's just a matter of sitting down and looking at what I need to do, what the position requires. I know that in the next slide, we put that shyness and like the unfamiliar environment. So setting a goal to talk to a stranger and saying hi. So that was another of my challenges, not being so friendly and going up to people. I think I'd rather like step back and see how the situation plays out. So that is a great way to overcome that challenge and obstacle, you know, getting out of your comfort zone, which is always good to do. And the last section is going to be planning your career. So before we get onto that, now that we've had a little bit of time to reflect on your challenges and everything, does anyone want to share with us any of their quadrants? You guys don't have to unmute yourself if you don't feel comfortable, maybe in the chat box.
But you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and chat with us. That would be awesome. I'm curious to know, it's because, let me go back to the previous slide. This one's hard. Like, let's go back to it. How can you minimize your challenges to avoid or minimize your obstacles?
So they're both negative.
Yeah, and that's really hard. Like,
and it's helping each other out. Yeah.
How do you do that? And that's kind of what I was talking about in the beginning, where like you're really gonna have to challenge yourself to think positively about your challenges and not see them as weaknesses. They're actually there to help you learn about yourself, you know?
Yes. One thing that you really do have to think about is that we are trying to challenge you to not only reflect, but to take action. So if you see that you always have a hard time in a social setting, or that you come across as not wanting to be there or uncomfortable, challenge yourself to change that. If you're unhappy with that, go for it. Talk to people. What's the worst that's going to happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So put yourself out there, really take action and reflect, because it's how we are really going to be able to discover ourselves and be able to change and challenge and improve. And this is going to be an ongoing thing. I'm sure we're going to be discovering ourselves for the rest of our lives. We're always going to be changing and developing into another sort of individual. So
Yeah.
I think this is something to keep in mind for as we go on along in our lives. I'm reading.
And you do want to. You want to keep changing. Change means that you're learning and you're growing. So no matter what age you are, you can still keep changing. But I wanted to ask you a question, Karla, about negatives and a negative. So when you add two negatives together, doesn't it come up with a positive number? Or am I wrong?
Yeah. If you have I remember our teacher showed us like a little face. So it's like negative. So it's like minus and then like a negative number. And then it would be like a positive. So yeah, two negatives do make a positive.
It just reminded me of that. I mean, it's been years since I, learned that, but it made me remember.
I'm reading the comments and I totally relate. Susie put that a downfall that she used to have was her body language. People thinking that she was in a bad mood, but she managed to change it and it has helped her dynamic overall. And I get you. Sometimes I feel like, especially me, if I'm in the zone or doing something, I do not have the nicest face. I am just doing my own thing. And if somebody's talking to me while I'm concentrating, I'm looking at them like, but because I'm thinking, not because I'm looking at them ugly. It's just, I don't realize that my faces or my body language or my little expressions like throw people off and can potentially, I don't know, it could have been a cool conversation or like a great friendship, but it was just a turn off based on my expression.
And we were talking about earlier about reading the room, right? So I shared an experience with Diane and Karla earlier where I was having a conversation with my brother, and if I would have like been mindful and like read the room a little bit more, I wouldn't have made him feel weird about what I was talking about. Yeah, I made him just feel a little bit weird, and I was like, oh, if I would have kind of gotten the hint beforehand or really looked around, then I would have probably been able to catch that. And so he told me like, hey, can you not talk about that? And so I stopped, but that could have kind of been avoided if I would have just read the room. And you won't always be perfect at it, but it's something to challenge yourself to do. But it's really hard to read the room sometimes when we get to talking and things come up and we just like can't stop talking. I know that's one of my challenges.
Get excited with the conversation and just keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
I'm curious though, Susie, how you were able to fix that, or what did you do, or what was your process to be able to change your dynamic? I don't know if you would like to share with us, maybe. And also, Diane, I was reading the comment of that you have to remember that you have to take care of yourself first. And yes, that makes a lot of sense. That's why in the airplanes, they tell you to put your mask first before you put the oxygen mask on your child. How are you going to be able to help them if you're not doing good?
Exactly.
That is a great reminder.
I even find myself doing that now. Like, I'll be in the kitchen and then I'll get up to like go get my water bottle from my bedroom. But on the way, I'll be like, oh, I need to throw that in the trash, or I need to tidy up the couch, or oh, I should just like put a load of laundry while I'm in the bedroom. It's like the laundry room is just right there. And then by the time I get back to like the table, I have forgotten my water bottle. I'm like, oh shoot, I was thirsty. That's what I went to my room for in the first place.
It happens.
Yeah, it does. And I want to reiterate, like, none of this is easy. That's why it's a challenge. And it's probably going to make you feel uncomfortable. But if you comfortably get uncomfortable, then you might find some value in that, in just pushing yourself a little bit, as to your comfort, as comfortable as you feel being uncomfortable, then you might start to see yourself flourish a little bit more.
And not only that, we understand that it's also hard coming up with the positive side. So sometimes you just think that, no, like I'm lazy, I'm this, I'm that, and I don't have these opportunities, and you just see negative, negative, negative. You talk to a friend, talk to us. Friends always tend to see the best in you. So look at yourself like a friend is, like how you would look at your friend, how your friend, how you want to make your friend feel. When they're just, well, at least I've had it where a friend would be telling me like, no, everything sucks. I'm so bad at this. And you're like, no, dude, you're wonderful. You've done all of this. You're great at doing that. So please talk to yourself like you're your own friend, because you are. And if you are having difficulties doing that, talk to us. We are definitely more than happy to help you come up with a positive, because I know we struggled to come up with our positives for this presentation.
Oh yeah, the first time when we did a run through, Dr. Yvonne Santiago, she took us through this whole thing with all of us. And I was like, dang, how can I come up with a positive?
Yeah, I just kept seeing the negative.
Yeah, yeah.
But with all of this, it's really for planning your future. So planning a career, an internship, your overall goal. So if you want a better financial situation, improve your personal life, this is really to plan your future. So here we have that. It's planning your career. So thinking of what you're going to do after you graduate UTEP. But remember that this is also your personal life. So you want to be happy with the career that you end up choosing, and you want to be able to make sure that your strengths and weaknesses are being challenged and worked on every day, not so much of a comfortable situation that you don't feel like you're growing or learning from. Mm-hmm. And with that, I think that is the last slide.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions? Do you guys want to talk about anything in regards to your strengths, challenges, opportunities, obstacles? Any way we can help you use your challenges or obstacles for more opportunities in the future?
I am curious to know about people's obstacles and how we can maybe help a little bit if you're willing.
I know it can be really personal, and you guys are in a room with strangers.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then whenever we close off, I'll share it again because we have a little bit more information. But I'm going to stop. There we go. Oh, I can see your faces now.
Susie, I'm wondering if we could reevaluate ourselves every couple of years as we're always changing. Yes. I honestly think that, well, personally, it's not only like every couple years. I think I change a lot every semester. At least at school, I saw myself changing after I met new friends or after we got new opportunities at work, and they always changed my opinion of things. And obviously, as you meet new people, you're obviously going to be learning something new. So definitely, I think maybe even more often, Susie. Your challenges have been changing as I grow older as well. I'm taking a step back and looking. It's really helpful. That's good.
You're growing. Congratulations. Like if your challenges stay the same the whole time, then I think that means you're not like challenging yourself enough. So it's good that your challenges are getting different. They're changing as you get older. That means you're, like progressing and flourishing, and that's really exciting. I'm really excited for you.
I definitely agree. I was having this conversation with my boyfriend the other day, and he was telling me that he was really frustrated with certain people, that he didn't understand their lack of like empathy and overall care for this situation right now because we're in a pandemic, we want to take care of each other. And he was like, why is it so bad that I'm feeling frustrated that I see people that I consider friends like annoying, that they're not taking care of them, like I'm mad, and I was like, no, it's totally understandable. You grow apart, you change, you grow. It's good that you get frustrated over the well-being of the world, like it's perfectly understandable. It's You will be growing as you go along every year and as the situations change, so definitely.
I totally agree. And I like, as I get older, I've been in a relationship for quite a while, but in the relationship, like I have absolutely changed and I've grown, and I feel very lucky that we respect that part about each other. But I can totally see why people might be together for like a long time and then they split up because you change. And I didn't really understand that until I was in the position where I was like, I'm a different person now, and this is who I am, and I like it, and you do have to sit down and talk about, like, are we gonna like move forward together, or are we gonna go move forward but like in separate directions? So especially in relationships, that's something that has come to my attention, is like, I can see why people split up after being together for decades. Even, you never stop changing and you never stop growing, and sometimes you just grow apart.
Or sometimes you grow together and same interest. Taylor wrote, do you have any tips on how to remember to take a step back and reevaluate? They're having a hard time staying mindful when they're stressed. So definitely something I like to do when I'm feeling really stressed out, my body just tends to just shut down. It just wants to take a nap. It just wants to. So when I'm starting to feel like super tired, I start to think, I'm like, okay, why am I feeling like this? What's going on in my life? And as I start to list the problems, so if I'm starting to put, like, you have a quiz, you have an exam, you have to turn in this work, you have a paper, you have that, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm stressed. And then I think, okay, maybe turn off your phone, turn off your computer, disconnect, give yourself, depending on the workload, because not everybody can take an hour or the rest of the day. Sometimes you have to meet those deadlines. So depending on my workload, I'll set a time. So maybe an hour, and I'll be like, go outside, sit down in the grass, play with your dogs, disconnect. And when you come back, you will not feel stuck anymore. That's what I usually tell myself, because it happens that if I'm just tired, all I can think about is I'm tired, I don't want to do this. And there's no progress. I don't do the work. What I'm studying is not sticking in my brain. So listen to your body. If your back starts to hurt, try to be a little bit more mindful and it takes some time, but every hour or so, at least now that we're in quarantine and we're sitting down more on the computer or on our desk if we're working from home, I've had to set timers. So if I'm gonna sit down and work, I'll put an hour and a half, depending on the work. And every so often I'll get up and I'll stretch and I'll walk, because I don't listen to my body. I have to put alarms to be able to listen to my back saying that that's it, you're tired, you can't be sitting down anymore. So that's my feedback. That's what helps me. I definitely do have to improve. I know Susie is great with being mindful, so let me.
Actually, a good idea. Maybe having a mantra that reminds you of your root values. Despite changing and evolving, some of our values remain the same. That's so true. Like, reminding yourself of almost like where you came from. Like, I'm here because I have like a certain value or like a perspective of like, I am worthy, things like that. For me, I struggle with this a lot actually, but whenever I'm really stressed, I find myself like just stripping things away and really focusing on like the basics of life. And then I just think about like my plants, and I'm just like, okay, I just need to water my plants, and I need to go back to like just thinking about how beautiful nature is and the earth. And I know it's like super hippie, but you know, I'm stressed, I'll go outside, water my plants, like water my plants inside, feed my turtle, and be like, this is life right here, like this is where we came from. And seeing that beauty is just like so empowering, I think, you know, if the earth can do it, like I can do it, you know. Like everything can tie back to inner child despite changing. It's remembering who you are once you have time and thinking of ways to improve by going back to where it is. Yeah. Inner child. Yeah. Oh, don't let go of that. No matter how old you get, man. Just don't. Just don't. Life is so much more fun when you let yourself be silly, you know?
You
It's
don't
so
care.
yeah.
Yeah, I get you. Definitely. When you're stressed out, being outside, nature, sitting down, grounding yourself, understanding that it's okay, like you'll get through it, will definitely help you out.
I like the idea of writing the list and like seeing why you are stressed. What you were talking about, Karla.
Oh yeah, definitely. For me, at least seeing the amount of things that I have to do, I'm like, well, no wonder I'm feeling like this. Like who can do this? If my friend tells me that, I would probably tell her that she's crazy, that she needs some time. So definitely.
Yeah, that's true, Taylor. She's saying we miss a lot of just ordinary life because of how stressed we are. And that's so true.
You don't enjoy the moments because you're just trying to move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Like get this done, get this done, get this done. And what about you? Like, have you even seen the sun today? Have you fed yourself? Like, you know, making a list of things to do is so helpful in my opinion. You cross off one thing off the list and you feel, oh yeah, I've tried that method, but I never kept up with it. But yeah, it feels good to like mark those things off.
You see, I love lists, but for me, I have to create like a big list for the week and then divide it and be like, okay, I can only do 1 through 5 on Monday and this on this day. And that's how I can feel a little bit less stressed. Because if I'm just looking at a huge list, I don't end up doing anything because I get overwhelmed. But breaking it up into the different days of the week helped me out a lot. I mean, I don't know if that might be like a reason for stress, just feeling overwhelmed with the amount of things that you have to do.
I like to plan my week out mainly separating the homework. Oh, cool. So separating homework into different days. Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah. I would like to know a little bit more. What are you studying, or what causes your stress, if you can share or would want to share? I don't know how many of us are currently taking summer classes. I know as it is, summer is super fast paced. And then on top of that, quarantine and, COVID. I don't know how much that is affecting us personally. Yeah, classes in quarantine. Yeah.
It is stressful.
It has been rough.
I feel super lucky that it hasn't really affected my like work or my ability to work or classes. The class that I had signed up for was already online. But it's rough for me in the sense that like we're here like with each other online, but I miss like just being there at work with like people, physical people, and being in close proximity. Just I really miss that social aspect of just being with each other, you know?
Whether you like it or not, sometimes, or at least personally, doing my work at school helped me actually get it done because I would think or be mindful of the time. So I would think, okay, it's already 6 o'clock, finish your homework, and you need to go back because it takes 30 minutes to get home because I live on the east side. So from UTEP to the east side, I was like, it takes 30 minutes to get home, and then you have to eat in that. I was like, okay, 2 hours, focus, do it. And if I needed a break, I would just walk over to where my friends would be hanging out, and I would get it out of my mind, talk, laugh, and I'd be like, okay, I need to go back. Or even being, we would, so I studied electrical engineering, and we have the IEEE room. And in a lot of times, it's not so much that everybody would be talking to each other, but everybody would be an individual desk, doing their own things. So whenever you needed a break, you would look up from your computer and you could talk to someone and go get water and go get a snack and focus. So it was a good break to be in a physical like workspace other than your home. Because right here, if I get tired, I just go to my bed or something, you know? And I personally like going somewhere else.
Taylor, I want to comment on your thing. It just reminded me. So Taylor's saying that that just thinking about fall classes is stressful, and especially knowing that, or not knowing what to expect of the classes. And I feel you, and it's just dawned on me the one thing that's really really helped me, and this is going back to the mantra thing, is just saying to myself, be here now. Like, you can't be anywhere in time in the world at all but now and here. So what are you going to do here and now? You know, it goes back to, you could spend all this time stressing, and that's what you did here and now, but when you could have taken it easy here and now, and then later on planned to do your work. So I just really want to share that mantra with you. Just be here now, be here now, be here now. Need to remind myself.
No, but I definitely agree with being stressed out about planning your future or not knowing what your classes are gonna be like, especially in quarantine, especially online when our professors might not know how to communicate with us in person. Online is harder. Um, it's a totally understandable feeling. You guys are not the only ones. There's a lot of people. We felt the same. I think that with parenting, what really helped me out was defining a physical workspace within my home, not necessarily in my room. So I enjoyed going downstairs. So my brother also, he was studying nursing. So then we would both go to the dinner table, the dining table, and we would both sit and not talk to each other and just work. And when we needed a break, we would just catch up and talk and so on. And my dad would be in the other room working. If he needed a break, he would get out. So really treating it as a workspace and separating yourself from your room or the TV or the couch to mentally prepare yourself to work. I think that helped me out. I know Susie also mentioned before that she had to designate a part of her bed, if I remember correctly, that this part was like her working and then the other part was for sleeping and resting. definitely physical workspaces. Maybe that can help us in the meantime, at least for quarantine.
Mm-hmm. I'm mindful of the time. We're past 6, so I'm gonna share my screen again, and then we would just here we go. Would like to share with you. We did talk about ways that you could, talk to us and whatnot. If you want to reach out, if you have more questions, then you can find us personally. Our emails. So there's Yvonne's email, the yesshecan email, my email, and Karla's. And then you can also follow us on social media, and shoot us a message on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. And we do have a yesshecan private Facebook group, so you can join that if you want. You just have to answer a few questions, and make sure to answer them, please, because if not, we won't let you in. It's really, really important to answer those questions, but we want to make sure that we're available for you, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. But yeah, that's our social media and how you can find us.
Yeah, the mission for the Facebook group is to connect each other and be able to pair individuals who would like to mentor or be or a mentor. So by answering the questions at the beginning, you would really let us know what you're looking for or how you want to help someone out. So that's why the questions are important. Mm-hmm. And please talk to us whenever you guys have any questions, or if you left having questions right now, please reach out to us. Mm-hmm. And I hope you guys enjoyed the workshop. I hope you gained something from it. There's our social media and our email.
Is this the correct survey? I don't know if it is or not.
I don't remember.
I don't think it is, but feel free to take it. I mean, we can still improve.
We can, yeah. But thank you so much for showing up to the workshop and listening to us.
Yes, thank you.
We really appreciate you guys.